On Prime Time, we start the March to Mania with WWE Hall of Famer Road Warrior Animal joining us for a special interview. We also have hot news from TNA, NXT, WWE, ROH, and of course DWHS with David Hero. So sit back, relax, and get ready for the longest running wrestling talk show in the world today. Right here, right now on My24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime TV, the longest running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Prime Time, here on My24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time straight-edge hardcore knockouts Divas Hall of Famer Hero on March 5th, 2016. How the heck are you, David?
I'm relieved.
Why is this?
Well, because Milwaukee's back to normal.
What was wrong with
President
it?
Obama was in town for a day.
POTUS.
And he just threw shenanigans all over the place.
You know, here's the thing.
The what?
The thing. You ever see the movie Air Force One?
Yes. Isn't that a song by Nelly?
That's about shoes.
Okay.
You know, the greatest thing about when the president comes to town is to see the majesty of Air Force One at Billy Mitchell Field.
You like that, don't you?
I do. It's the symbol of American power.
How do you get so close?
How do I get so close?
Yeah.
I know people.
You got like a little pass you put on your neck or something? Little
credentials, they're called. Yes. Gotcha. Folks, let's get right down to this week's big story, and it is brought to you by the Shenanigans VIP Party, coming to Dallas, Texas, to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Kevin Nash is the host, and it is a can't-miss, one-of-a-kind event. Get all the details right now at PWRshow.com. This week on WWE Raw, we saw the follow-up to last week's return of Shane McMahon, and the announcement of his WrestleMania match with an appearance by The Undertaker. Undertaker was introduced by Vince McMahon, and Taker told Vince that the, quote, blood of his son would not be on his hands, but on the hands of the father. Vince followed that up with saying he would disown Shane, his son, and exclude him from his will, giving everything to Stephanie. Now, things got real personal real fast, and you add this on top of Stephanie's breakdown, and you have some very interesting elements surrounding this match, David Hero.
You know, Stephanie's breakdown, it felt so real.
It did.
You know,
because there's some realism to it.
There's a lot of realism. I mean, there's so much realism in this entire angle where Shane did leave and Stephanie was happy he was gone, and now she's in control with Hunter, and now they've got things rolling, and then Shane comes back and drops the comment about him having 3 boys to Stephanie only having 3 girls, which it's going to be... I'm just hoping that all of the emotion of the McMahon family does not overshadow the match. That's going to be Hell in a Cell.
I did this last week. I want to go back and take a look at WrestleMania 17 because the McMahons dominated that matchup between Shane and Vince, and it was one of the greatest, most entertaining exhibitions in WrestleMania history.
That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is...
Take glasses off. I can hear you perfectly fine.
I'm being serious.
Ladies and gentlemen, March 5th, 2016, David Hero.
10:08.
Serious for the first time.
So, you don't want them to stack the deck too much against Shane, because then it gives it away. Just nitpick at it and tease it. Don't say you're taking him out of the will. You're gonna disown him. You know, now he's a son of an ex-wife kind of stuff. It's just like he needs to stop.
He did call him a son of a ex-wife.
He did. I know he did. So
which means, what's he calling Linda? His wife, Linda.
It's not my problem. So I don't want all of that. I don't want to be the McMahons. Don't forget the Taker's involved in this match.
Yeah. But here's the question, though. What if Shane loses this matchup and doesn't gain control of Raw, and all the stuff Vince said this past Monday on Raw turns out to be true?
Well, at least he gets a hell of a Mania payday out of it.
$120,000.
Yeah.
That's what he's guaranteed for his performance.
That's not terrible.
Released in some WWE financial documents just yesterday.
How about that?
So what if Shane wins?
Would you fall off a cage for $120,000?
I'd do it for $12.
$12?
Yeah. I'm resilient. I'll bounce right back.
Okay.
What if Shane wins the match, David Hero?
Well, then there's no doubt there's going to be a brand split. Because then Hunter and Stephanie will then take over SmackDown. Shane will be on Raw, and they will then build towards the Survivor Series.
Here's what we haven't seen, folks, and I'm intrigued by the fact that it hasn't been touched unless I've missed something. Triple H has not really been involved in or addressed this situation at all.
No, because he's too busy in the main event.
Which is probably perfect. And we're going to talk about that on Primetime Extra, which continues online at PWRshow.com right after the Primetime episode here on My 24.
Call waiting. Hold on a second.
Yes.
Hunter. Yes, we're just talking about it right now.
That was the highlight of the night for sure on Raw, and the ride to WrestleMania continues.
What was Dean Ambrose thinking when he confronted Triple H on Raw? Which former ROH and TNA star debuted on NXT this week? What does David have to say in this week's DWHS? Get all the answers to all this and more coming up on Primetime.
The Soder family thought they'd take a road trip this summer. A little fun, a little sun. What could possibly go wrong? Even under the best driving conditions, semi-trucks can still be dangerous. The results of being in a wreck with 40 tons of steel and speed can be catastrophic. And it only gets worse when you don't have Gruber Law Offices on your side. If you or a loved one has been injured by a semi-truck, call Gruber Law Offices now. One call, that's all.
Hi gang, Mean Gene Okerlund here on My 24, and you're watching the Pro Wrestling Report. All of the news about wrestling, not only here in Milwaukee, but throughout the world. Stay up to date. Join us every Saturday night.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, prime time here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero.
An important call. You gotta let me take the call. That was
well. Here's the thing. Clearly, those phones look similar, and I don't understand how you have two, but one has a cord and one doesn't. So how did they both?
Well, one's for long distance. This is for local calls.
Folks, let's go to this week's WWE report. And Dean Ambrose, folks, took a bold step and confronted WWE Champion Triple H on Raw this past Monday night. Ambrose challenged Triple H, but got a match with Alberto Del Rio for his efforts instead. Triple H would then attack Ambrose to end the show, following up on his beatdown of Roman Reigns last week. Now, Ambrose would then go on to SmackDown to defeat Kevin Owens in a non-title match, but that time resulting in yet another beatdown by Owens after the match again. Now, it has been announced on WWE.com that Ambrose will take on Triple H at the WWE Network special Roadblock coming up in a few weeks from Toronto.
I have never, ever seen a guy get beat up so many consecutive weeks and still show up the following week and continue to fight and get beat up again.
What's the wrestling reasoning for that treatment of Ambrose right now?
To make him the ultimate underdog, the guy that won't quit, and to get more of the movement behind him.
I don't think they have a problem in that area.
They're trying to make him into Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
You know?
Then he needs something more than scraggly hair and blue jeans to stand out from the crowd.
As opposed to
It was unique. It was identifiable.
You don't think that most of the audience can identify with Dean Ambrose?
I think a lot of the audience, unfortunately, looks just like Dean Ambrose.
Are you making fun of the paying audience?
No, not at all.
Are you making?
I'm saying that since he looks so relatively
unwashed?
normal,
Are you
that
calling him unwashed?
perhaps they could relate to him a bit better.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the question. Is Ambrose serving as just filler for Brock Reigns and Roman?
No, they're absolutely...
I'm sorry, Brock Reigns.
No.
Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
They're absolutely trying to make Ambrose into a top guy.
Can he be seen as a credible threat? Can he be seen as that top guy?
I think Ambrose will be the Macho Man to Roman Reigns' Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I like that. I can do that. I can see that.
You know what I mean?
I like that. That works. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, there was also a Divas #1 contender match on Raw where we thought we would find out who might take on Charlotte at WrestleMania, but that would not be the case. The match ended in a double pinfall and was declared a draw. Lillian Garcia saying at the end of the match, the following match has been declared a draw.
You don't understand? How did Sasha Banks get knocked out?
Well, the force of the impact coming down off the top rope must have.
But did you watch it?
Yeah.
I watched it 3 times. I'm thinking, there was no trauma to the head whatsoever.
Well, it would end similarly on SmackDown when the two fought to a double disqualification. So, David, who should it be? Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, or both going up against Charlotte at WrestleMania?
It's going to be a triple threat with all 3 of them.
Why wouldn't you?
But here's the problem with what they've done. The Divas Revolution has now fizzled out.
Totally. It was so big and huge.
It was so.
However,
it's been so overexposed, much like New Day, completely overexposed. Anything that was fresh and good about it is now becoming very vanilla.
However, we're getting on average 2 Divas matches on Raw every week now.
Well, yeah, because you have so many under contract.
But that is a benefit of the
But it's
Divas
always
Revolution.
the same ones. That's not a benefit. You know what? You still have Alicia Fox. You still have Natty Neidhart. You know.
You like our Subway commercial? Folks, check out PWR Reaction live every Monday night at 10 p.m., taking your live calls at pwrshow.com. Can't watch the show live? Subscribe to the PWR Now Network for free at pwrshow.com to get the episodes on demand. Impact on Pop TV was headlined by a tremendous matchup between Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode, where Roode tapped out to Kurt Angle. Now, next week, Kurt Angle will compete in his last scheduled match in TNA against one Bobby Lashley.
Two great. 2 guys that will put on an amazing match, an amazing show. Technical, amateur backgrounds. I'm looking forward to that one.
And really good to end his run in TNA, Kurt Angle, with Bobby Roode, a tremendous performer, and Bobby Lashley, as you just said, a comparable performer.
Yeah, I thought the only thing that was weird about this entire Kurt Angle Bon Voyage thing is, of course, it was done over in the UK. Where
they needed an audience.
Well, exactly. But he lost to Drew McIntyre, which I thought was very surprising to me.
I'm supposed to remember that.
What do you mean?
I'm supposed to remember him
a couple weeks ago.
beating Roode and probably beating Lashley next week.
Yes. TNA's Hall of Famer, Kurt Angle.
And also, I enjoyed Impact this week, actually. Rockstar Spud. Here's the thing.
Segment.
Here's the thing. I miss the suits.
You say that a lot.
I miss the suits.
You do. What kind of...
He's wearing black now because he's a heel.
Yeah? Well, you can't wear those colorful gimmicks anymore.
Not Lashley, but Hardy and EC3.
Yes.
What do you think we go with that? What's the end game there? We know they're back taping in a couple of weeks and doing a live special on Impact. I'm sorry, on Pop.
Eventually, EC3's
from
got to
Orlando.
get that belt back. Mm-hmm. And of course, but can EC3 sustain as a good guy?
I think so.
But the problem is right now he's going against everybody in the Hardy camp. He's going against Tyrus and Rebby, which is a battle in its own with Rebby. And then you got Spud and Matt, but when it's eventually just going to be EC3 against a Lashley or a Roode or a Drew McIntyre, how's that all going to fare out for him?
Which former TNA and ROH star debuted on NXT this week? What veteran star has taken a leadership role in the ROH locker room? The answers to this and more when we come back on Primetime. But first, we start the PWR March to Mania with WWE Hall of Famer Road Warrior Animal right after the break.
PWR is on the road to WrestleMania, and we're bringing total coverage of the event. It all starts with PWR March to Mania, as we welcome a WWE Hall of Famer to Primetime TV every week. Road Warrior Animal joins us March 5th, followed by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on March 12th. And then, the most famous voice in wrestling, Jim Ross, joins us March 19th and 26th. Watch PWR Primetime every Saturday at 10 p.m. on television, pwrshow.com, and Fight TV for the March to Mania, leading up to our special edition of Primetime from Dallas on April 2nd. Get more details now at pwrshow.com. PWR, the best gets better.
Welcome back, fans, here to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting alongside the legendary Road Warrior Animal. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report, sir.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you very much. You know, that legendary comic, it makes you feel old right away.
Well, let me see. How can I rephrase it then? The world-renowned Road Warrior Animal.
There you go. There you go.
You know, Road Warrior Animal, you have been a signature reference point, if you will, as it pertains to tag team wrestling for a very, very long time. And amazing stuff that you did as part of the Road Warriors. But we've seen a lot of teams emulate the style of the Road Warriors in their time in wrestling. And how does it feel to watch so many people try to recreate, to a degree, the magic that you had?
Well, you know, most of the time, imitation is the greatest form of flattery there is, you know, and well, I guess all the time it is. But you know, I mean, guys are trying to make their footprint or make their stay in pro wrestling and around the world, and sometimes they try to emulate other guys. But you know, my advice to guys like that is pretty much find what's good for you and stick with your own thing. You know, Hawk and I would watch wrestling when we were younger, and we would take bits and pieces of what guys did that we loved, and then we created them and honed them into our style. Like a power slam, for instance. You know, I got that from Buzz Sawyer. But Buzz Sawyer did his power slam way different than I did. He just did a quick snap. I jumped up and got up in the air with mine. So, and I turned it into my own. So, you know, like I said, you know, listen, imitation is flattery, and, you know, you can't be mad at the guys. They're just trying to make a living, you know.
Tag team wrestling today, obviously not as huge as it once was. What do you think is missing or could be added to the tag team wrestling scene to bring it back to its former glory?
Well, you know, I think what's missing in tag team wrestling is that, you know, you got to have two guys that have known each other, and tag teams have got to be together for a long time. Yeah. You just can't throw two guys together, which I think is a mistake that happens today a lot. They think because they throw one guy or another big star together, it's going to be a great tag team. It'll work, but people at the end of the day kind of, you know, pass gas at it. You know, if I say that nicely on TV.
Pass gas at it.
But you know, like they tried. I mean, they've had times when tag team wrestling was starting to come back, and you see it come back a little bit, but then all of a sudden you go, oh man, why did they do that? And then they will have two tag team partners fighting each other, which doesn't make sense. So I think they have to go back to that. You know, it's kind of a lost art in our business. I think it's a very good part of the business. I think it could be a main event like it was before, but you got to get the, you know, it's about putting butts in seats, man. You got to get the right guys that can put butts in seats.
Every 18 inches, right?
There you go.
Obviously, great point on the tag team wrestling scene, but also there is this thing that I just have wondered about for years. And as I sit here next to you and I look, how long does it take to apply the face paint?
Man, face paint takes about 15, 20 minutes.
Really?
You know, yeah, it's funny. I couldn't draw you a stick man on a piece of paper, but I could put this stupid spider on my face and everything else. You know, it's we started off with just a couple lines back after the first Road Warrior movie, right? And then Mad Max came out, and we started elaborating and kind of just grew into the spider, like don't get caught in my web type thing, you know.
What'd you think of the Mad Max remake? Did you see it?
You know, I've not seen it yet. You know, personally, I think the movie would have been better if they would have bought one of the original Road Warriors like myself and put me in the movie. Okay. But, yeah, hint for the next one. But, you know, I heard it did great. I am going to see it, though.
What's your advice for those out there watching this who think they have a future in the wrestling business? What is it that they should be focused on, or what is it that the companies are looking for to get one of those very, very coveted spots on the roster?
Well, I think the first thing you got to look at is be a realist. Don't think because you're an athlete or you're a stud in your own world that you're going to be a stud in pro wrestling. There are a lot of tough guys in pro wrestling with many different types of backgrounds, and it takes a certain individual to be able to be a pro wrestler. Not to ruin their dream or anything, but, you know, you got to understand, you know, guys in our business, we protect this business. The first thing you should do is go in there with respect. Shut your mouth. Shake hands with every veteran that's in there, because that veteran has paved the way for you to have the opportunity even to get in the door. And I think that gets missing a little bit. A guy goes to a wrestling camp and thinks he could be world champ the next day. That's not going to happen. Some guys go 15, 20 years before ever getting a chance to win a championship, you know? I mean, Hawk and I were very fortunate, and Hawk and I have always thanked every guy we've ever been in the ring with that helped before us and during the time and afterwards. I mean, we knew we were really lucky, and we appreciate that. But I think because of TV and internet, guys think, oh, I'm going to go through wrestling camp now I can be the champ. 6 weeks. And they can't walk and chew gum in the ring, because once you get in there and nervous energy gets in, you forget everything. Yeah. So, you know, learn your craft, take time to study it, and there is no stupid question. Ask a question. If you don't understand anything about psychology or why you're doing this, why you're doing that, ask, because there is no dumb question in our business.
Road Warrior Animal, it is such a pleasure and an honor to have you here on the Pro Wrestling Report for the first time. Thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us and for all that you have done and will continue to do in the wrestling business. I think I'm going to, I'm motivated now. I'm going to start painting my face.
I'd stick with the mic.
Road Warrior Animal, ladies and gentlemen, here on PWR PrimeTime.
Thanks to WWE Hall of Famer Road Warrior Animal for joining us here on Primetime and the March to Mania. Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by PWRshow.com, where you can subscribe to the PWR Now Network and watch all of our shows on demand. Ring of Honor Wrestling returns to Milwaukee's Turner Hall on Sunday, June 12th. Tickets are available now at papstheater.org. WWE comes back to town this Tuesday for a live SmackDown taping at the BMO Harris Bradley Center. Tickets are available now at Ticketmaster.com. PWR is invading Dallas for WrestleMania. Kevin Nash will once again be hosting the Shenanigans VIP party, taking place in Dallas on Friday, April 1st from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Nash will be joined by Billy Gunn, Al Snow, ODB, and more at this exclusive party event. The party is only 5 minutes away from ROH and NXT, so it's the perfect after party. More details and tickets are available now at PWRshow.com. Find out more about our other huge events, including WrestleCon, C2E2, and the Super Friends Fan Fest now by going to PWRshow.com.
Former Ring of Honor and TNA star Austin Aries debuted in NXT this past Wednesday night.
Hey, he's from Milwaukee,
Milwaukee's very own.
Yes.
And was attacked immediately by one Baron Corbin. Seems as if the greatest man that ever lived was immediately launched into a feud with Corbin.
One of the biggest guys at NXT, like a legit 6'6", 6'7" monster. Baron Corbin is picking a fight with Austin Aries, the greatest man that ever lived. Who would have thought that?
It was interesting watching him hold up the T-shirt and sort of thumbing it in the eye and face of William Regal. Corbin, Aries' T-shirt. He got a great reaction, did Austin Aries.
He did.
He's been on this very set.
And you know what? The people of Orlando love Austin Aries. He's a TNA guy.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah.
And
but they hyped him up very big. Regal announcing last week that there would be a new star announced, and then the announcement by Regal on NXT was equally impressive.
Right, don't get me wrong. Aries is extremely talented. He's one of the best guys in the ring going, and it's going to be pretty cool to see him in an NXT ring with the right production and company and staff behind him to make him a bigger star.
Folks, NXT has also announced a tour of the Carolinas following WrestleMania on April 7th through the 9th. I think they're in the Ohio area this weekend as we speak. David Hero. What you think of Neville versus Finn Balor? Neville, the longest reigning NXT champion of the past.
Those two
going
guys
up against the current
put
champion.
on a crazy show. It's almost like this version of Savage and Steamboat.
Should Finn Balor ever get called up to the main roster?
Not right now. Not for a while. Let him stay on NXT and build that brand.
He's a huge star in a small pond.
Yes.
Versus being a huge star in a very large ocean in WWE if he were to go up there.
What did Bret Hart tell the world about his recent cancer diagnosis? What else does Dave have to say in this week's DHHS? Get the answers to all that and more when we come back for the final leg of Primetime TV.
It's the biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Dallas. Join Nash and friends including Billy Gunn, Mean Gene Okerlund, Al Snow, ODB, and more for a VIP party event Friday, April 1st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling in downtown Dallas to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Dallas, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
Back fans of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And hot news this week is brought to you by PWR Feedback Friday, where we discuss the fabulous Freebirds being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And we also respond to your comments about our broadcast. That's every Friday, 5 p.m. exclusively at PWRshow.com. Bret Hart has provided an update as to his battle with prostate cancer. Hart said recently that his surgery was successful and that the cancerous prostate was removed. In an interview with WWE.com, Hart said, and I quote, "Well, there's always a chance it could come back, but it seems my cancer was contained within my prostate. I have to get checked every 3 months for the next couple of years, and eventually it will be once a year, and eventually in 10 years, they'll tell me that I'm cancer-free forever." We're very happy to hear this great news from the WWE Hall of Famer, Bret Hart, who has beat a lot of stuff, including some concussion issues, a stroke, and now cancer.
Terrible accident. Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing far better than I ever thought he would after all this.
Folks, Kevin Nash, also a WWE Hall of Famer, has announced that he plans to donate his brain to CTE research. In an interview with ESPN.com, Nash said, and I quote, "Anything you do in life that's athletic that has any degree of contact whatsoever, there's that risk that you could be injured or have a concussion. I don't blame anything except it's my endeavors. Nash also said that he believes WWE has the best concussion protocol out there.
How about that? We should cheers and toast to Nash.
Absolutely.
At Shenanigans.
Well, remember, you can attend a VIP party WrestleMania weekend with Kevin Nash, hosted by Kevin Nash, on April 1st. All the details
That's
right
your
now
birthday, isn't it?
at
April
PWRshow.com. That's not my birthday. My birthday is November 26th. I'm a Valentine's Day baby. Means, do the math, 9 months earlier.
Oh, so we got to do subtraction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Folks, Christopher Daniels, who has signed a new exclusive contract with Ring of Honor, has taken more of a prominent backstage role, apparently. Talents say they enjoy working with Daniels, and he is said to be somewhat of a backstage leader, locker room leader in Ring of Honor wrestling. Christopher Daniels, he's been on the show many a time as well, friend of the show. Great guy.
He's been around for a long time. He's well respected. He gets it. He's funny. He's creative. He understands the business better than anybody else.
That he does. And Truth Martini, who was attacked at Winner Takes All on pay-per-view last weekend, will be taking some time off for neck surgery. It's not known how long he will be out of action.
So the truth hurts.
Yes, David Hero, in this case, the truth does hurt. He's also co-hosted this show with me.
Yes, he has.
Maybe during his recovery, he can come and join us.
I think that will be fantastic.
Is that right? You just want more time off.
Do I get paid time off?
Folks, be sure to check out our exclusive PWR update featuring the latest news from Ring of Honor each week in Madison, Green Bay, and Minneapolis during Ring of Honor wrestling broadcasts over the weekend.
DWHS is brought to you by the Super Friends Fan Fest coming to Milwaukee May 7th and 8th. Featuring
2 days?
It's 2 days. It's a Saturday and Sunday.
Nice.
With Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund, The Outsiders, and more. Go to PWRshow.com for all the details. Now, this week's DWHS is about Kurt Angle. The gold medalist, the Olympian, one of the best wrestlers of all time. It's Kurt Angle week in TNA. He's had amazing matches with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Sting, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and next week Bobby Lashley. But here's the thing. Kurt Angle deserves to have his last match in the WWE. He needs that brand. He needs to go back to WrestleMania. He needs that Sting or Daniel Bryan ovation. It's one thing to be in the TNA Hall of Fame, but when it's all said and done, the WWE Hall of Fame is where it's at. And Kurt Angle is homegrown. He is made. He was designed by the World Wrestling Entertainment, and Vince McMahon and Triple H should bring him back and give him the proper send-off he deserves. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
That's intriguing enough that coming up next on Primetime Extra at PWRshow.com, we're going to talk about Kurt Angle's next step because his contract has been over with TNA for quite a while. Folks, you can continue the conversation online by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and visiting PWRshow.com for updates all week long until we are here with you again next Saturday night for another edition of Primetime. And don't forget to check out the free PWR Now network with new shows daily, PWRshow.com, and more where we talk wrestling unfiltered. Next week, WWE Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is our guest as we continue the march to Mania. And Primetime continues right now at PWRshow.com with Primetime Extra, where we talk Triple H, we talk Kurt Angle, and all the rest that didn't fit into this 30-minute ride on TV. For that one, we'll see you right now at PWRshow.com.